This right here is my new daily carry 35mm film camera. It is the Nikon Light Touch Zoom 100W. What a horrible name. I never want to see the words light and touch next to each other, to be honest. But creepy name aside, there's a few things about this camera that instantly stood out to me and I had to buy it. So reason number one that this camera caught my attention is its 28 to 100mm zoomy boy lens. Lovely. Pretty cool because most compact point and shoots start around the 35 to 38mm mark, so to have that extra 10mm makes a world of difference. There's a lot of jokes I want to make right now. For fuck's sake. Oh, I don't deserve a platform. And the second reason that this camera caught my eye is that it supports the Xcode reading up to 3200. As you may or may not know, Delta 3200 is like my favourite film stock to use for black and white, and to be able to just throw a roll of that in a point and shoot if I'm at like a show or something and I want to shoot in the dark is awesome. Blast through a roll of like 3200 as it is, like just read the Xcode, bang through it at 3200, job's a good in, and I can swap back to like gold 200 or whatever when I get out. Perfect. Exactly what I'm looking for in a daily carry. I want to be able to have that spectrum. But I suppose the most important question surrounding this camera remains unanswered currently, and that is it a pile of absolute stinking shite? And I guess there's only one way to find out. Well, there isn't. I mean, you can just Google some reviews, I suppose, but for drama's sake, there's only one way to find out. Let's take some photos. Yeah! Woo! I really need a day off. So, quick rundown of specs. I've already mentioned the focal length of the lens and that it supports the Xcodes up to 3200. In terms of aperture, we're looking at f5.8 to 10.5. Now, this isn't groundbreaking, obviously, by any standards, but it is not a deal breaker at all for me. The camera has a pretty handy max shutter of 1/500. It has autofocus and this cute little flash that pops up. It has that whole clamshell design going on as well, similar to those Olympus Mu cameras that sell for like £400 that everyone shits the bed over. So I bought this camera specifically with the intention of trying to make it my daily carry film camera. So that's what I did with it. I carried it around for a couple of weeks, shot a bunch of photos whilst I was just out and about working and whatever. So let's take a look at some photos and we'll see how well this camera holds up. So first up, we've got this lovely shot of me enjoying some plant shopping. I do enjoy shopping for house plants, despite the fact that I can't keep any of the bastards alive. Here's a lovely photo I snapped whilst I was out on a work shoot. What a lovely day out this was. This was also taken in that same spot. Pretty cool, get to just travel around, take photos of stuff. What a life. So here's a photo of a gnarly vintage ET Universal Orlando ride tee that I picked up on Vinted. They will have a bit of old vintage ride merch. Yeah, this one's really cool. It's the old fabled water doggo, snapped in the wild. 10 out of 10, a cryptid. And then we went karting. It's super fun, but also I'm extremely competitive. Fortunately, I won. A poor sportsman would gloat about the victory, and luckily for me, I am a terrible sportsman. So you can see here I am pictured twerking on a table as part of my victory celebrations. So roughly like 4 to 5 hours, by which point I think everyone else was ready to stick me under a patio, but I won. So like swings and roundabouts, innit? They shouldn't be so slow, you know what I mean? If you're going to be offended that 5 hours later I'm still talking about how I'm faster than everyone, like be faster, do you know what I mean? It's not my fault, you're all slow, do you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I'm actually really stoked on these. The autofocus performed really well. I had plenty more hits than misses, so I'm really stoked on that. Having that extra wideness at 28mm is cool, but I'll throw up a photo now to show you some pretty wild vignetting. So this is kind of like, I look at this and I'm like, no thank you. Like, it's a pretty easy fix, takes 2 minutes in Lightroom, but I don't want to do that either really. I just want to snap photos and then be done. Do you know what I'm saying? In an ideal world. So what I tend to do, I pull the camera out and I automatically now, out of habit, I just roll in like a mil or two. And yeah, it gets rid of that vignetting completely. So if you're thinking of picking one of these up, just keep an eye on that 28mm vignetting, and if you want to shoot at 28, just be prepared to fix in Lightroom afterwards or whatever. The camera feels super tough for what it is. Like, obviously it's plasticky in that, but I just threw this in bags. Like, I threw it in, like, I opened the door to the van, threw it in and walked off. Do you know what I mean? Like, I went out of my way to not be careful with this camera, and it's totally fine. No dents, no scratches, nothing. It bounces, which is ideal, really. And that clamshell design is really cool because it covers the lens, so if you throw it in your bag or in your pocket, you've got like keys in your pocket, so you just throw that in as well. It's not going to cause any problems, which is really cool. I shot quite a lot of film, and so loading and unloading film doesn't really bother me either way, whatever I have to do with it. If you have to sort of manually wind it on and stuff, like, I'm not bothered. But with this camera being so easy to just throw a roll of film in, line the tip up, close it, done, auto rewind, it's just handy in those daily carry scenarios where it's super quick. You just throw another roll in, and then once it's finished, it rewinds at a reasonable speed as well. Take it out, throw another one in, go again. It's super easy to load and unload film. I like the way that the lens kind of handles light in general. Zooming right in all the way to like 100mm, photos still look great. So yeah, I'm stoked on it. But that does not mean that it is all sunshine and rainbows. We can never have an entirely perfect camera, can we? So there are some downsides to this camera too. I've already mentioned the vignetting at 28mm, which is pretty wild, but it's an easy fix, and yeah, like I say, I just automatically roll in a bit further, and it gets around that quite nicely. The main issue that I found with this camera was the recycle time for the flash is crazy. It's so long. Sometimes I can blast through a couple and it's okay. I've tried a bunch of different batteries. It's definitely not like weaker, cheaper batteries or anything. I timed one once and it took 16 seconds. I mean, that photo's gone, innit? Like, I may as well just leave it open for the next photo. So if you're planning to just be blasting through photos like one after another with this, then maybe swerve this specific camera. But overall though, I do think the positives massively outweigh the negatives for this camera. So much so, in fact, that this camera will remain my daily carry film camera moving forward. Should you buy one? I mean, if you can find one at a reasonable price, then yeah, there's absolutely no reason why you wouldn't enjoy this camera. It's a zoomy camera, so don't expect it to be like tack sharp, and don't expect that flash to power up anytime quickly. I picked mine up for like 30 quid, boxed, manual, everything. So I am really stoked on this purchase. I will be posting more photos from this camera pretty regularly on my Instagram account, so if you haven't already, feel free to head over, give me a little follow, say hello. For anyone who doesn't know, I am a full-time photographer and videographer, and yeah, I post a lot of like my work and my personal stuff just on my like my work page. It's in the same place. I don't really use personal social media. But that pretty much wraps up this video. Cheers for coming to hang out. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, like the video, subscribe to the channel, all that stuff. It'd be greatly appreciated. Appease the algorithm so that eventually this channel can get massive. I can make loads of money and then spend it all on drugs. Hopefully I will catch you in the next one. Peace!